O'Shea. How you doing, Coach?
How you doing?
Good. Just to piggyback off of what you said with a fairly new team, how do you take a fairly new team going against a pretty vetted team and a team that's been to the 9 Cup before?
So how do I take them?
How do you prepare your team for that?
We have fun in Mississippi. You know, we have fun. Our motto is, give me everything you got for 4 quarters. After that, let's see what the scoreboard say. So, you know, go out there, have fun. No matter what, play together, play fast. This is kind of how you prepare yourself for it.
Got it. And then the first game you guys played Texas, Rashida Young wasn't out there. Going into this game with her, how do you think that's going to differentiate the score?
She was there first game. She just a little nervous. You know, first game back off the injury. She was there. I guess that's your way to say they kept her quiet the whole game. So we have to see if they get
Any other questions for head coach?
Hey Coach, my name is Brenda Gorjola. I am with the XP brand, creative director, and just wondering from last season and how you guys ended this season, what is your game mentality and what is your next steps in preparation for next season?
Okay. From last year to prepare for this year. Last year was kind of a whole different staff. So, you know, this year we came in with a different group of guys and we gave ourselves a 3-year window to be dominant. Just so happened we win the championship game this year. So, you know, it's the beginning for us. We just feel like we put a run together and we go and take it that way.
One more question, and knowing that this is mostly of your men's dominated sport, and you know, women here are also trying to dominate this sport, what is your message to anybody out there that doesn't know that women's tackle football is still?
My message, I always tell people when I recruit, like, stop watching men's football thinking it's the same as women's football. As far as in, you still have physical women, you still have so much of the same type of talent and athletic ability, but when you see men, they, you know, you kind of run out trying to knock each other's head off. With women, you learning, so it's more like fundamental football. So it's kind of easier to break down and teach than men.
And why should players come play for not just the WNFC, but in general for any team in the WNFC, especially for Mississippi?
Why should they come play for Mississippi? You know, my film, we have fun out there. You know what I'm saying? My goal was to kind of bring a different edge to the league. Like, you know, you can still have fun and be friends with the players. You don't have to be a rah-rah coach and all this and that. So that's kind of like my mindset. So, you know, come to Mississippi. I know.
Last question for coach. Anyone have any last questions? We good? Good job, coach. Thank you so much for this. All right, next up, Brittany Bushman. Just for video purposes, give your first and last name, position, and team play.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Brittany Bushman. I'm the quarterback for the Texas Elite Spartans.
Questions?
Brittany, John, with the broadcast tomorrow. I know every year is different, you know, even if you've been, you know, playing the game for, you know, 15, 20 years. What was different about this year for you?
This year I think was different because we had a lot of new people that came in from various teams. And so it was a process of trying to assimilate them to the elite way and letting them know how we operate and figuring out how they fit into our elite culture. So I feel like that was the biggest thing, but it was really similar to a lot of other years. We knew that we wanted to get back to the 9 Cup, trying to win another championship. So we came in focused and we had a mission and a goal every single practice, just to get better and to mesh as a team and to come out and dominate.
Offensively, where have you guys grown the most this year?
You know, when Gord left last year, we obviously knew that we had a huge hole to fill at the running back position. We were really excited when Tara Thomas, Turbo, came out because we saw her play in the WFA. And we knew she's super talented. And so it was really just a matter of getting her comfortable and figuring out where she was going to suit us best. And the last half of the year, she's really turned it on. She's not thinking so much anymore, and she's just doing her thing.
Jasmine with Semi Pro Live. I've enjoyed a lot of your games up close and personal this year. Great performances. Talk about your receivers and your core. So Maria, Satterwhite, what should we expect out of you and those players? And how does the defense even stop that duo? You probably don't even want to answer that question, but you know, you guys are, you know, multiple threats there. So talk about those players and why they've been so important to your offense this year.
Absolutely. It's probably the most selfless group that we have on our team. Across the board, you know, we have Liz Landry, Satterwhite, Turbo, Maria, Panda. Like, we can throw the ball anywhere on the field. We are extremely difficult to defend. Our coach is an excellent play caller, and you know, I have the best offensive line in the country. It gives me time to read defenses, and I just stand and deliver. You know, I trust them. They love their craft. They're getting better every time that they step onto the field, and there's a lot of trust. There's a lot of chemistry. So the things that you've seen this season, you'll see tomorrow too.
I look forward to it.
Last couple for
Shay with Shakedown with Shay. Brittany, not living in the same state as your team, how do you continue to keep that chemistry with your receivers and with your team, being a leader of the team?
Yeah, that's a great question. Definitely there are some challenges, not being able to be present at all of the different team events that we have. But you know, I played with Texas in different capacities on different teams since like 2009. So I have a really great friendship and relationship with all of those people already before I left to kind of go home. And so it's about hitting Zooms. It's about staying in contact via text and just making sure that I'm staying in contact with them when I'm not here in Texas.
And then just last question, there was a post on social media. What goes through your mind when coach yells, check, run?
I trust my coach. So if there is a check run, regardless of how I feel about it, I'm going to trust what she's calling, and I will hand the ball off if we go left.
Thank you.
questions over. I'm just kidding. All right, good job. Let's go, board. Yeah, put it on the plate. Yeah, put it on. So let's go with name, position, and team.
Rashawn Gore, quarterback, Mississippi Lady Panthers.
All right, questions for Gore. And it is not Rashawn. There's no H. It's Rashawn.
Hassan, John with the broadcast tomorrow. When you think about going up against your former team, you know, what kind of, does that make you nervous, excited, you know, just with everything that's on the line?
I think my thought process when it comes to that is I've played against them in practice for 5 years. So it kind of, for me, is like when you go outside and play against your friends. So that's the mentality I have going into it. I know them well. So there's, first game I played them, it was no nervousness. It just felt like I was outside playing in the backyard or on the street. So, yeah.
Do you think it helps that you've seen them once this year, even though it was the first game of the year?
Definitely. I thought it was perfect how it played out. We played them first.
Why?
To see where we're at as a team and just to get that game out the way.
You guys, I mean, held your own. I mean, obviously, you guys really gave them a challenge. Sometimes teams don't give them a challenge. You know that. So What is it gonna take to win tomorrow?
It's gonna take everybody's best game, everybody locked in mentally, physically, because it is a game of mental toughness as much as it is physical toughness. So we just have to bring everything on every level at our best.
Shay, Shakedown with Shay, Gore, coming from Texas Elite and going to Mississippi, how did people buy into you and your leadership in the quarterback position?
That's a loaded question. You know, I come from Seattle originally, and going from a team to another team is never easy. It wasn't easy in Texas, it wasn't easy in Chicago, and you just have to put the physical aspects that you bring, you have to show that, you know, on the field for people to respect you, you know what I mean? So that came, I think that it was automatic, but it also was like, show me. You know, Mississippi is a show me state, like you gotta show me. So once we started winning games and, you know, that type of stuff, it was easier to lead. But like I said, it's never easy anywhere you go to just come and especially in a leadership role, to just like take over. There's so much going on with, you know, other teams and their culture and things like that. You have to find a way to speak to them and speak their language as well, like meet each other.
And then coming from the first game to now the 9 Cup, are we gonna see a closer game?
Definitely. What you mean? Right. Like, so the first time we played them, that's the first time we ever played together. You know what I mean? So you gotta think about that. Like, and the game that we played, we didn't play bad. That was our first time playing together. So we've, like Coach said, you know, we've grown throughout the season, and I knew that's how it was gonna play out. I bet on us, you know what I mean? So.
Cool. Last questions for Gore.
I got a question for Gore. Okay, so you have been coached by OJ and Steve. Which one get on your nerve the most?
You. But I let you go.
Good job, good job. If we ain't getting on your nerves, we ain't doing it right.
I go on the record and say this game is like Alabama and Georgia. So.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Thank y'all.
Good job. Good job. All right, take a few questions. Knocked out. Oh, you've got your purse. All right. Odessa Jenkins, head coach of the Texas League Spartans.
OJ, John Little with the broadcast tomorrow. Okay, so what do you love about Rasan, and what have you seen like when you watch Rasan on tape as a quarterback? I mean, you always brag on her to me, but you know, just what do you see about her being able to take all the snaps in Mississippi?
Yeah, man, Gore's a legend, right? Like there's a lot of young people that come into this game that don't know the history of a lot of the players. Like I was tripping. There's one of our rookies. He's like, "Did you play, coach?" But like you just like, you know what I mean? Like they're 20, they're 19, you know. And so I think if you know your history, and it's right to do your homework, that Gore was a dynamic quarterback. When I first started the Elite back in the day, she was playing QB for Seattle, then Chicago. We played Team USA together. And she always kind of compromised that because she's just that good of an athlete. You know, play DB, play like everything, right? So for me, there's no doubt like in her ability. You know, I just think we always had a QB competition in Dallas, and Bushman won that competition. And I think for Gore, it was a decision like, yo, I could be better than you're giving me the opportunity to be. So let me go show you. And that's what dogs do, right? That's what she's always been. That's what she's gonna continue to be. It's like you don't even know what I am. And so I think that is who Rasan has always been. It's who she's gonna always continue to be. She's an amazing talent. I don't know if I was talking to you, but I think it was when Gore was like, listen, coach, when I come back, I'm gonna go play quarterback, and I'm gonna go dominate. And I was like, all right, what team you going to? Let's go figure it out, right? Like, and it might have been you or another coach that I was talking to, but I was like, hey, that's gonna be a top quarterback in the league. Like, you don't understand what's been sitting back here. And I'm proud that she is showing everybody what we all used to see back in the day. It's a show, man. It's dope to see quarterbacks, you know, when you're an OC, to see the quarterback position elevating in a league is cool.
Absolutely. I was going to ask Brittany this. I mean, nothing against Smash Mouth football, but, you know, I mean, to see two offenses where skill is, you know, really highlighted, you know, what does that say about the current state of the WNFC and the women's game as a
It's
whole?
cool. It's cool, man. Like, the game is elevating. The owners and I were talking last night about, like, the fact that some of the teammates we played back in the day wouldn't make these teams. Like, they're that good. And the fact that the offense is scoring a lot of points. And these two, you know, are two of the best in the world. And I think that's what you want in a league. You want to be able to bet on somebody. And I think, I don't know, I never seen anybody slam the ball like Brittany Bushman does. I think there's a lot of things, you know, she can throw the whole route tree and shit I make up she can do. Like, throw it behind the back and then throw it somewhere else. You know, like she's always down. So I think when you have the ability for a coach, and I think it makes better coaching too, because coaches want to actually coach talent. So now we're bringing in better coaching talent, right? That can say, I don't just want to run the ball. I don't want to be an offensive coordinator that just run the ball 90 times a game. I want to be able to have a really eclectic offense, and now you can do that in the WNFC. I don't know that you can get that much anywhere else.
Question. So you talk a lot about talent, and talent is important on championship teams. However, it's not everything. Cultures have to be developed within a team. So can you talk a little bit about what is that, as a championship coach, what goes into and what are you looking for when you're talking about building the culture of your team?
Yeah. So I think we both teams got here because of that, right? Like, we are starkly different in the way we operate, right? But we are both rooted in the same thing: love of each other and our team, and having a good time, right? Like, I'm an intense human, and so, you know, what the world sees is a very intense human sometimes. But my squad knows who I am, and it's a sisterhood, and it's a fierce one. We are very, very aggressive about the way we protect each other and our culture. So everything we have is banked on that. With the Spartans, we started that way, and that's the way we'll always be. We don't talk about winning a lot. We talk about how we go about our business. And we are a business. Like, sometimes it's not fun at all being a Spartan. It sucks. It really does. It really, it sucks sometimes. It is not fun playing for me all the time. A lot of times. But it's worth it. And I think that's our culture. It's worth it. You know, when you see the Spartans get together, you cannot deny, when you look at them, if there's more than two of them in a room, you know it. The way they love each other. And so, doing something right.
Jasmine with Semi Pro Live again. I have a question. Just speaking of winning and sisterhood, how do you keep your team maintained and humble with such a successful history going into a championship time after time? How do you keep everyone on that same mind path and maintaining being humble and just, you know, going into it with the same mindset and being successful?
Good question. They're hungry. I don't know that they're humble.
Okay.
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 You know, you get to a point when you got to be humbled. Somebody gonna have to humble us. But that doesn't mean we're a-holes. That doesn't mean that we think we're better than everybody else. That means that we've earned the right to put our chest out, to be champions. I think that it's a misconception. You know, Maya Angelou talks about modesty and how it's a mistake, particularly for women. And I think the same way. I think you can not be prideful and not be negative and not be all of those things and stick your chest out and let folks know, put your peacock feathers up and let folks know who you are when you walk in the room and when you step out on the field. And I think my squad carries that confidence with them. And maybe that'll change someday. But the thing that keeps them as people that don't think too highly of themselves in a way that's arrogant is they love each other. They love the game. They're obsessed with it. They're obsessed with it. What we do in Texas, everybody works out. Everybody comes to practice. We got 60 people at practices. Like, they love it. And so I think that is the thing that keeps them, and I wouldn't say humble, but that's the thing that keeps them like personable, and they respect the game, they respect each other, and they know that if they get out here and do some like real sideways weird stuff, that we're all gonna be looking like, why are you being an asshole? You know, like we're not even those kind of people.
Shay, Shakedown with Shay, being such a winning team, everybody always asks how you maintain that culture. What does it take for another team to get to that level to, like you said, in other words, humble you guys, and for the league to rise up to that level?
Blueprint is there. Everybody's gonna do it in their own way, right? Every team's gonna do it in their own way, but the things that you have to have in order, if you're gonna beat us, you have to have a strong operation, right? You have to have some sort of discipline. You gotta have really good athletes, because no matter how much you want it, your one gotta be my one. You gotta have good coaching. I think that you have to have a mentality that requires you to bring your team together. I think the teams in this league have it. And somebody's gonna beat us. It ain't gonna happen on Sunday. Let's see. But somebody gonna beat us. I'm just kidding. No. Like it's gonna happen. Like no team doesn't lose a game. Like somebody's gonna beat us. It could happen Sunday. It could happen, like some team's gonna beat us because the tide is rising. You know, the average score differential is going down. We've got to get more complex defensively, offensively on special teams. That's stuff that we used to be able to do. We can't do no more. Cause people are like, I wish you would. I smash y'all through that. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think that it's already happened, right? It's already happened. There are several teams in the WNFC that can beat us. They gotta play well. Not play the best football game. So it's getting there. I think the other thing is just athletes, recruiting, right? Get better athletes, keep getting bigger, faster, stronger, and D1 athletes. I got a lot of D1 athletes, and I think having athletes that consider themselves professional and know how to train their mind and body will catch everybody up. You can't just be okay with people who want to play football. You have to be okay with athletes who want to play football.
And with that being said, will this be your toughest 9 Cup yet?
Great question.
They're all tough, man. I will say the Mississippi Panthers are the toughest competitor we've seen all year. They are the other team. They are respectfully, you know, y'all know I speak the truth. They are respectfully the other team. They are the team to beat. Will it be hard or not? I don't know. Will it be hard, Bushman?
We'll see.
No, it's always hard, man. They don't come to play. Shoot, that one sitting in that pink hat, I know that cat. All right, that team gonna be ready. So it's gonna be a good football game. I can tell you that. But we ready. We ain't. You gonna have to beat us. There ain't gonna be no. You gonna have to beat us. I think that's it. Championship teams, if you want, you can roll. If you want to stay, what time is it?
8:32.
8:30. Oh, us guys. Damn. Okay, so if you want to stay, if you have to register at 9. So if you want to stay a little bit, but you have to go register at 9. We should be done at 9, y'all. And this shouldn't take forever. Media on the all pros, we're gonna go quicker. We want to get them through. We want to make sure we get a couple questions out and move past. But we really want to get to the point of like understanding if this is their first. Like we want to know that. Like if you're a first time all pro. Want to understand the culture of the teams that they're with. Like I know you all came with questions.
Safety, wide receiver, and kicker.
Shay, Shakedown with Shay. Stacy, nominated for Special Teams Player of the Year. Like you said, a safety as well, playing all over the team. What can we expect out of Tennessee, being that this year was its first year?
We had lots of wrinkles to work through, so I don't know. I don't even know if I was gonna play next year. I told Tessa and Rachel 1 year, but I'm thinking about coming back for next year. So I think we're still developing that culture on the team. We had coaching staff leave right before the season, so we're working it out.
You're a great player. I hope we do see you play next year.
What's your history in playing? Obviously, led the team in tackles and interceptions. How'd you fall in love with the game?
When did I start playing? 2018, I think, for the WFA. I'm not gonna mention the team. I think I always wanted to play football. I remember I played soccer my whole life, and I remember watching my high school football team practice, and I was like, that would be really fun to just like hit somebody like that. You don't get to hit anybody like that in soccer, so I miss playing on a team after I graduated college, and so I said, let's try something new. Let's have that challenge of learning a new sport. So
Where'd you play in college?
I went to college, Calvin College in Michigan. I played soccer for a year, and then I played lacrosse for all 4 years.
Fantastic. Thank you.
What's been the hardest transition for you from football, from playing soccer, to now playing football?
It's still a new sport to me. Learning positions and learning to play wide receiver routes and stuff, and that was probably the hardest. But I'm an athlete, so that part came kind of naturally. But it's a new sport. It's a challenge. There's always something new to learn.
Would you recommend that other young girls who played soccer or other sports and are looking to continue on in some type of sport, would you recommend football for them?
Absolutely. If they want the challenge of a different sport, and it's cool to get women started in this sport too.
Joy Pasternak, Athletes Voices. Stacy, off the field, you have probably one of the most demanding emotionally and physically jobs out there. Appropriate that you play safety. Can you tell us a little bit more about who Stacy is off the field?
I'm a nurse in the neonatal ICU at Vanderbilt Children's. It's a very demanding job. I work night shift too, so that's even harder on my body. But you know, I have a very protective nature to me, so I want to protect my teammates. I told Tessa, our quarterback, if I could play one of the linemen for you, I would, but my body's not built like that. So, yeah, I think football also is a way to kind of help me get my anger and stress out too from work.
And following up on that, you had a baby this year too. Talk about the
Yeah,
challenges balancing all of this.
Yeah, I'm very thankful for my husband who has helped me with that too, taking care of our daughter. She's 11 months old, so getting my body back was definitely a challenge. It's definitely not back to my former self before the baby, but we're still working on it.
Any other questions for Stacy? Cool, good job, Stacy. Wasn't that bad? That wasn't that bad.
It was the line dance.
All right, Kelly Whitehead from Kansas City Glory. Okay,
Hey everyone, I'm Kelly Whitehead, linebacker for Kansas City Glory.
from Compton.
From Australia.
Shay, Shakedown with Shay. Kelly, I've watched you come out of nowhere this year. As a linebacker, being on team sauce with linebackers like Amber Kraft and Tina Tella, who have been playing this game for years, how does that feel? And to be nominated for a Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, I'm super proud of the nomination, Rookie of the Year. Obviously not my first season of football ever, but my first year in the league. So like definitely way better than I expected. I had no idea like how I was going to fit into the league, so really proud of that. So excited to play with my fellow linebackers. I love the linebackers on my team, wish I could play with them forever obviously, but to play with other talent is just amazing, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like on the field.
And then just one more question. Coming from Australia, how does the game differ from Australia to playing here?
It's really different for me. Down in Australia, I play in a men's team, so obviously playing in a women's game is really different, just like the level of testosterone is a lot higher down there, and I think the egos are a lot bigger in a men's team, whereas like in this women's team, I think everyone is really humble because we all, we are fighting to show that we belong here and that we can play on a field sort of thing. So definitely, I think the sisterhood as well is a lot bigger in the women's comp, whereas the men's teams is a bit more like, about themselves and their team sort of thing, whereas this we're all kind of building together.
Thank you.
John Lowe from the broadcast. What's your reaction to just, being here at the Star and playing at the Ford Center at the Star tomorrow? What does that mean to you, and what's going through your mind as you walk around this complex today?
It's kind of mind blowing a little bit. Where I play down in Adelaide in Australia is like a rugby field with just like grass. Like we don't even have football posts. So this is just like amazing. I haven't actually been in the stadium yet, but like even just the front of it is just like so impressive, and I'm so thankful that I have had the opportunity to come here and play in this great place.
Great job, Kelly. All right, Jessica Phillips. So excited to be here. I just feel it all over you. D-linemen love this kind of stuff. Yeah. Go ahead with your name and your position and team. You can pull that up there. A little taller. Kelly. All right.
Jessica Phillips, O-line, D-line, fullback for LA Legends.
Shay, Shakedown with Shay. JP, you're nominated for Trench Player of the Year. Like you say, you play O-line, D-line, and you tote the ball. What is your favorite position out of those three?
for sure. Yeah, it's like a different hunger. I feel like, yeah, I just like it better.
Jasmine with Semi Pro Live again. You know, we're in a time era where girls are starting to play football, but flag football at a younger level. As a lineman, you know, flag doesn't really provide the opportunity to feed into that type of position. So if there's a young person out there that does want to feed into like a lineman position for female or women's football, what would be your suggestion as far as like how they can do that or even get involved? Or how did you get involved as a lineman where there's not, you know, specifically a route to, as a younger person, to just like journey into that position?
To be honest, I don't know. I feel like the way I fell into being a lineman, I just came and tried out. I didn't even know there was football. When I first found out, somebody saw me playing basketball. They were like, "Oh, come play," and I'm just like, I didn't even know y'all had football. But when I came, I tried out, and I ended up loving it. So unless they come to a team, I feel like, when they get of age as a young person and try out and play it, I really don't know. Unless we like find stuff that we can actually do for like linemen, like make camps and stuff like that, make it bigger for as like what you guys are doing for flag. I really don't know. Sorry.
So you're saying that maybe the WNFC should host a lineman camp for younger
For sure.
out in the off season. I like that idea. I like that.
John Little with the broadcast. Tell me about like what things were like for you before you played football and like what it's brought out of you, like personally, since you started playing.
Well, I know for sure, like, okay, I played sports since I was like 5, right? I did play football when I was like 7 or 8. And there's a whole thing about being a woman and playing with boys. I got looked at different, so I stopped playing and just stuck with basketball. But when I started playing, like I probably started playing around 23. I feel like the whole aspect of women in general and our mindsets in sports, that played a lot into playing football. It wasn't just playing football. It was more like catering to emotions or dealing with different personalities more than just playing the game. And so I know that taught me like basically learning other women and how to play with them more, if that makes sense.
Hey, one last question. You almost never leave the field, and that's rare for a lineman your size. Let's just keep it 100. How do you do it? Like, no, I watch all the games. I watch every single game, and watching you, you're one of the few linemen in the league that don't come off the field, and it doesn't make like scientific sense. You feel what I'm saying? How do you do it? Like, are you just love the game?
I'm not just the lineman though. I'm a real athlete. Like, so it's just like, I'm not saying it like on the top of the level.
Let them know. Say what you gotta say. Because people need to hear this. People need to hear it. Go ahead and say it. Say what you gotta say, man.
No, like, I've been playing. Like I said, I've been playing since I was 5. So it's like working out and being in something. All my sports that I played, I'm usually always in the game. So it's not like, it's not nothing new to me. Sorry guys. Like, I don't know how to explain that either. Like, I go and I try to play as much as I can because I love it too. So I don't ask, like when they try to take me, I'll get mad. So it's like, I don't know.
That's beautiful.
Right.
Great job. All right, Chinese Cole. Shanice. Mess up the name. You know, don't get his name wrong. Give us your name, position, and team, please.
Shanice Cole for the Houston Mamas. I play defensive end, tight end, fullback, O-line, wherever they need me.
Shay, Shakedown with Shay. I love watching you this season. You had a great season. Being on a new team like the Houston Mambas, what did you bring to that team? Being such a great athlete, coming from Team USA, what did you bring to the table?
I feel like I brought my experience and my leadership. If you know me, I don't talk as much, but I'm a firm believer of you don't have to hear me to see me. So I'm more so, I bring my leadership out on the field as far as with my pads and my technique and my skills. It's been a great year of football for me, leading from the WFA, Team USA, and now All-Pro, and being nominated for Trench Player of the Year. So I think my leadership and just my skills as far as being a player for a couple of years, I brought that to the team.
And being a Trench Player and nominated for Trench Player of the Year, who is a Trench Player that you look out for on the field when you're going against other teams?
My fellow Team USA teammate, Tammy. Always keep your head on the swivel. I made sure I wasn't one of the ones laying out on the ground. Yeah, I can say Tammy for sure, and I'm elated to be nominated in the same field as her.
Thank you.
Shanice, tell me about you off the field. I'm not sure what that smile's about, so tell me about it.
So I don't have as like a physically demanding job. I'm a business analyst for the Federal Reserve Bank. Off the field, before football, before I started playing, I played D1 basketball at a school in South Carolina. I played sports all my life. I played overseas for a little bit. A lot of the time, I'm usually working out. I got sponsored this year. That's another major part with my gym, Canitro Fitness. So I'm always trying to be better as far as a player, and I'm learning the game every day. And especially with me getting older, I have to stay in tune with my body and those that I play against as well.
OJ talked about D1 athletes and how this is a great opportunity for them. I mean, she's got like a bunch of them, but I think about Webb being a WNBA player and then, translating so well to this game. As a basketball player, what skills have you used from that in football?
I guess you can say just being coachable and knowledgeable. A lot of times, like my fellow nominee said, I'm an athlete, so a lot of things just transfer over. Being able to be coached and be able to learn skills on the fly. Like I said, I haven't always played football all my life, but I have played basketball and other sports. So having those coaches and that structure in college helped me as I became a better football player as well.
Cool. Any final questions for Shanice?
Yep, Ahadana Cummings with Up to Sports. You talked a lot about your leadership, and we heard from some of the other women earlier that there's always been these barriers to young girls playing sports, especially male-dominated sports in particular. So I'm wondering if your next phase, I know you're talking about leadership and all that you do off of the field, do you foresee yourself stepping into a coaching role at some point?
Yeah, I can definitely see myself moving into coaching. A lot of our players, like this was our first year, we're building, but our owners and our coach, who's a veteran, a player also as well, has brought a different type of drive in me to want to coach and to actually stay in the game when it's time for me to retire or what. So I want to be able to bring that tenacity to the girls at a younger age, and I prefer to coach younger girls because I want them to see that they'll be able to do the same thing we're doing, whether it's playing with the boys or playing with the girls. It doesn't matter where you land, but you can play just as well. So.
You're a pro. Good job. All right. Tina Teller with the Utah Falcons.
Hello, everybody. Tina Tella, or Christina Tella. With the Utah Falcons, played linebacker, DN, fullback, quarterback. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, anywhere you need me, I'll be there.
Questions for Tina?
John Little with the broadcast. Saw you guys last year in this spot. Obviously, you'd love to be here as a team, but in a different role this year. You know, what for you has football meant to you, and why is it important to see yourself and you know your fellow athletes on a stage like this here at the Star?
So football is not just a game for me. It's a way of life, and it teaches us on and off the field many things, and that's what sports has been for me. And so I think it's very important that when you decide to play a sport, especially a full contact sport, that you are able to trust, that you're able to understand the risks that you're taking with other people on the field that become your family. And so having this type of, especially for younger women and for the young girls that are coming up in full contact sports, whether it's rugby or football or any male-dominated sports that females want to engage in, I think that it's truly important for them to have this type of platform to be able to excel and elevate in this time for them and have the opportunity. So that's what's important for me as I'm reaching my 50s, to continue playing and being an example for those who are going to be coming up and continue to elevate the sport for us.
You don't look like you're reaching your 50s.
7 more years. I'm 43 now.
Okay,
Yes.
fantastic. Well, so how long do you want to play then? Sounds like you're looking into the future.
I mean, I have a 9-year-old, and she's been playing sports, or playing football now with the boys in the U Conference League. And the U Conference League, they just put in a girls, a female side. And so, but she still wants to play with the boys. And so that for me is a reassurance that what I'm doing is not in vain. And that she knows that she can play at any level or with any person, whether you're female or male, on the field. And so as long as my bones and my body can physically take it, I mean, that's just what I love it. I love hitting, I love getting hits, I love the camaraderie, I love the family dynamic, I love everything. So as long as I can do it, I will do it.
Yes. Any last questions for Tina?
Yes, Shay, Shakedown with Shay. Tina, you just said all the positions that you have played, for how long you've been playing. How do you continue to be a game changer and being nominated for that award again?
Oh, let's see. I think just being me, just being who I am, and I'm a very family-oriented person. And so when I'm on the field, like, the rest of us, we're very protective of our sisters. And family is important to me. And so when I'm on the field with my sisters and with my family, I'm gonna make sure that everybody has the same mentality. And mentality is what you need on this field. It's not about physicality a lot of times. It's about mentality when you get on that field. And that ripples out into the game. And so for me, if I can get into your mind, then I already won. And if I can get my teammates and my sisters to do the same thing, then we already won. So that's how I do it.
Thank you.
Great job, Tina. Amber Kraft, the Denver Bandits.
Good morning. I'm Amber Kraft. I am number 40 for the Denver Bandits. I play linebacker.
You guys got a loaded, John, with the broadcast. You guys got a loaded linebacker room tomorrow. So who's going to start and who's not?
Great question. Yeah, we have a lot of great players. Linebacker is always a huge position at the All-Pro game. you know, my first year being an All-Pro, I think I played for 2 minutes. So I don't think it's really a competition for playing time. We're all just super excited to be there. The sideline's exciting. Like, just getting water is exciting. So we're all just happy to be there. I think there's usually a pretty solid rotation. Everybody gets on the field. And so, yeah, I don't think it matters who starts, but we're just excited to play.
Shay, shakedown with Shay. Man, linebackers on team sauce. Is there team dripping here? Because you guys are in trouble. Amber, you were week 8 defensive player for the league and nominated for defensive player of the year. Going against such a great linebacker crew in the league this year, how do you do it?
A lot of things. It starts now, right? After this game, we're in the off season. So for me, this year, I really focused on getting myself right, getting my body right, getting my mind right. It's a mental game for me personally, you know. So that's kind of what I focused on this year. Just getting myself right so that I could be on the field as much as possible and help my team as much as possible. And then also just understanding the game as well as I possibly can, and then executing. So there's a lot of parts to it. But yeah, being a linebacker is fun. You know, you get to fly around, you get to be a leader, you get to do all the things.
Thank you.
Ahada with Up to Sports. So you talked about your mental game. How do you know when it's time to switch your focus from the physicality of the game to recognizing when it's time for me to focus on the mental side of the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's equal parts when you're out there on the field. You have to know what you need to do, but then you also have to be able to execute it. This year, I kind of realized that I do a lot of running around with my head chopped off like chicken, and you know, maybe if I put a little more focus into doing the correct things the first time around, then I don't have to run around as much. So kind of a lot of preparation as you know, as I get older, as I decide whether or not I want to continue to play. You know, if I decide I want to continue to play, how do I make sure I can do that at a high level? And that's kind of where the mental part comes in. A lot of thinking goes on, and if I can save myself a few steps, get going in the right direction the first time around, you know, things like that. So just trying to, if I can really elevate my mental game, I think I save myself a little bit of time and energy, and can prolong how long I can play the game.
Any more questions for Amber Kraft? Great job, Amber. Tashawn Lee with the Washington Prodigy. It's a great outfit.
Thanks, no.
It's awesome. You didn't let me down. I knew you wouldn't let me down.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Name, position, and team, please.
Tashawn Lee. I play for the Washington Prodigy. I play DB, every special team, some running back if they need me.
Glad you're here. John, with the broadcast. So what drove you to the game of football? What's your history in?
Oh, actually, I've always wanted to play football. Like, I used to cry because my dad wouldn't let me go out with the guys and play in the neighborhood. And then I was in high school, I actually was a cheerleader. And I wanted to play football, but the only thing that you could play in my area was kicker, and I wanted to be part of the action. So it wasn't until I was 19 that I found a semi-pro team in Virginia to play with. And then once I found out about the WNFC and the Prodigy was the closest team to me, I was like, oh yeah, we gotta make that move.
Fantastic. So how have you grown as a football player since you first started?
Because I've been playing for almost 8 years. When I first started, I was just all like, I know I'm fast, so we're just gonna run. As fast as I can, I'm just gonna run. So as I've gotten older, I just added the mental part to the game. Learning, like I've always known football, I've always watched football, so I know the rules, I know what each position does. But knowing what I'm supposed to do and getting to know how to beat my opponent mentally, that's what I've been adding recently.
Shay, Shakedown with Shay. Tashawn Lee nominated for Shutdown DB of the Year. I think one of the biggest plays for you, you got in the front, that ATL squad. That 4th and 2, you jump up and knock the ball down to close the game out. What was going through your mind during that play?
This is what I do. I honestly, I bet on me every time. I love those types of positions. It's actually not my first time being in that position. That's where I eat. I know that when it comes down to it, I would rather me be the person be back there.
Jasmine with Semi-Pro Live, I just want to speak about professionalism because you're the first athlete that's gone up and said that you started on a semi-pro level and now you're professional. Talk about your experience with the WNFC as a professional athlete.
Like you said, it's just the professionalism, it's the organization, it's the discipline. When you're playing on what I classify as a semi-pro team, there's a lot more that you can get away with. There's a lot more that you can do that you can't do when you're in the WNFC. You can't show up to the games, no practices, and think that you're going to ball out on the field. That's not going to happen. You have to take care of your body. You have to be a smart player. You have to be an athlete. When it comes to the WNFC, we are a league full of athletes, not just women who play football.
Tell him, Tashawn. Any last questions for? I think we should end on that actually.
Yeah, that was really
All right, let's go back to back. Prodigy Jasmine Ballard. Prodigy talks a lot.
Jasmine Ballard, number 9, tailback for Washington Brush.
Good job, Jasmine.
Hey, Jasmine, John Little with the broadcast. Obviously, you've caught onto this game really, really fast. These last couple of years have been just outstanding for you. Just what drew you to the game, and have you been surprised at your success, or what do you think?
Not really. I trained off season for it, so kind of predicted some of it.
Yeah.
What was your first question?
That was pretty much it. No, are you? I know you were a rookie last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but okay, good. Glad my memory didn't slip away. The point is, I mean, these first 2 years have been really successful for you. Were you surprised, even going back to last year, that you were so effective?
Yeah, last year I was, because it was my first time coming to WNFC, so I didn't really know what to expect. It was a lot harder last year, getting hit a lot. Had a lot of bruises this year as well, but it's great though.
Can you talk, Ahada with Uptest Sports, can you talk a little bit about what is that intensity? If I'm new and I'm coming into the league, what do I need to expect in terms of the level of training that has to go into being a good player?
A lot of training. I expect as a tailback, get hit a lot. Mississippi hurt me a lot. Beat me up, they D-line, but it's pretty intense. Just getting hit. That's really it.
So then what keeps you coming? Because getting hit ain't always fun. And as Coach said, playing is not always fun. So what is it that keeps you coming back and keeps you pushing and keeps you playing?
Scoring. It's fun scoring. Seeing the scoreboard record.
Shay, Shakedown with Shay. Jasmine Popeye Ballard. Where did the nickname Popeye come from?
When I played for a semi-pro team with Tashawn, It was at Friendsgiving. I didn't know who Popeye was, so they started joking me. And then I think the question was like, what did Popeye eat? I said like broccoli or something. I didn't know what it was. And then they started calling me Popeye.
Got it. And then just to kind of get into your stats a little bit, second year in the league, over 700 rushing yards. You like to get in the end zone. You had 9 touchdowns at the end of the regular season, 7 2-point conversions. How does it feel to be a second year player up against the rest of these people in the offensive player of the year?
It feels good. It's a lot of dogs up there, a lot of competition. But it was good to be number 1.
All right, man. The trifecta. Let's go. Atlanta Phoenix. If you can, give your names, each of you, your individual positions, and the team you play for.
I'm Diamond Wright. I play with the Atlanta Phoenix, and I play outside linebacker and strong safety, or DB, pretty much.
Janae Walker, I'm number 7, I'm running back on the Phoenix.
Louise Brown.
On the mic.
Oh, sorry.
Mic, when you stand.
Louise Brown, Big Ocho, quarterback for Atlanta Phoenix.
And we are.
Feel free to ask questions individually, whether, in either way.
Luis, you're up for MVP. What worked well for your offense this season?
Our no-huddle offense, I think, worked really well for us. I think at first it was like one of those push-pull things because nobody really likes the fast pace of it. But I think one thing about our offense, I think we did a really great job this season with the no-huddle, knowing the plays, understanding the assignments, being able as a whole to read and understand what we're doing and what the play calls for. I think that helped us out tremendously this season.
So you're gonna have to slow things down tomorrow. Let everybody else keep up.
No, absolutely not. No, we're going. It's a big trip.
Diamond, where did your game grow the most this year?
Well, this is my second year playing outside linebacker, so last year was my first year. I really had to work on my technique because I started from cornerback to safety. So it was pretty much learning more about the outside linebacker position and hitting harder.
So, hey, Jay, I want to ask you about the injury. This is, I think, the second year that you've had a pretty catastrophic injury. Tell us about the process that it takes to come back.
It's all about the mental toughness in you. Physically, your body's gonna be what your body's gonna be. So if you work at it, you'll come back physically, but mentally you have to want it. You have to want to play the game, and if you want to play the game, you're gonna play it.
You think you're gonna be a top 5 rusher next season?
I would.
It is.
I broke my ankle, that thing like this. I'm coming back like, I need to, I have to, because I had people tell me if I had surgery on my ankle, I wasn't coming back. I wasn't gonna be nothing. I had somebody to physically tell me that, so I got somebody to show. So I'm coming back, and I'm gonna be number 1.
Hey, you heard it here first.
What? Go ahead, Jay.
I want to ask you a little bit more about your Trifecta brand because I'm scrolling down your Instagram right now. But tell us about the brand, about the gear. It appears that you may sell gear. And what was the influence behind creating this brand and the concept of your logo and the name?
I'll go. I think credits to OJ. She was a huge part of kind of how we got into a union. The first All-Pro we came to 3 years ago, we came to support Big Dime. But it started off as a friendship, a family, and one of the things we heard her speak and say is brand yourselves. Like, we're in this new league, we gotta stand out. As women, unfortunately, you know, we have to kind of go the extra mile. And that was something that we decided, like, we can really brand this. Like, this can be a thing. Although it's like us getting on each other's nerves all the time, or competing, or just being a family. We're like siblings half the time we're together. I think that was the biggest part in like creating this union and saying, okay, let's brand ourselves. Let's think about a logo. Let's talk about a name. How can we go forward with our brand and still be a family?
How's the brand going? How are y'all doing?
Superb. No, we're doing good. We're doing good. I mean, you know, it started off like super crazy intense. Like we were together like what, a month straight. Like literally a month straight. So now, of course, we're like, you know, we're getting out a little every day. We always like compete with each other the most before games, especially like us. We're trying to see who's getting the ball first, because if defense gets it, she's in my face like, oh, I'm gonna score first. No, girl. So it's still everything.
What's the reality show gonna be called?
Kicking it with trifecta.
Yes. 4th and 1. This question for you.
I got a question too.
You going with 7 or you going with 10 on the sweep?
Wait, what?
4th and 1. You going with 7 or 10 on the sweep?
Who win?
Trying to take this. If it's 4th and 1, coach, I'm going quarterback sneak. But I'm really going to.
Great job, Trey. Our last one is Commissioner Masters.
Yeah, Commissioner.
Good morning, Janice Masters, Commissioner of the WNFC.
John Little with the broadcast. What's been the biggest challenge of the last year for the league, and where have you guys grown the most?
Yeah, absolutely. With every year, there's a challenge, you know, between ownership groups, between athletes, people transitioning from teams into other teams. For me, that turns into a challenge in a positive way. The level of competition this season, the level of the athletes that are sitting here in front of you today has risen. And so for me, some of the challenges that we face on a yearly basis actually turn into positive results the next season, because, you know, the margin of victory gets shorter, right? These games aren't blowouts. Every team won a game this season. That is unusual in leagues. So for me, there are several challenges. We work through them as a unit, we get better the next season. So that for me is very awesome to see.
How have you tried to make the experience better for players within the last year?
So you think of a lot of us who are owners or administration or operations in the WNFC have been in this position, right? Not in this position, because that makes us jealous, right? I'm jealous. This is cool as shit. I talked to some athletes last night. You know, when I started playing our championship game, we were warming up in what I called a pasture. Our lights on our field went out for about 35 minutes, and we just were like, okay, what do we do? You go back to the locker room, you play some spoons, you play something, you know. Every year we get to step out here. The morning when you walk across the Tostitos Plaza out there, like, that is cool. And I know that some athletes' expectations are rising, and it excites me, right? The level of competition, the level of expectations, the professionalism that we're growing to is exciting. And wanting that as a player, but also wanting that from an organizational perspective. And it is continuing to grow, and it's super, super exciting, fun to watch.
Ahana with Uptest Sports. We're coming off the 50th anniversary of Title IX. What does this mean? Not just the WNFC, but women in football. What does this mean for women in sports and these young girls who are coming along now who are now getting into play, who are getting to play that we didn't get to play when we were younger. We could play with our brothers, but we didn't get to play on teams. So what does this mean in terms of the trajectory of Title IX from here on out?
Sure, I think it's hard. I think it's hard for people to look back and say, I didn't have this, or I didn't have that, or how do I help the future of women's football? Not only football, women in sports in general. How do we set expectations for someone who we feel that jealousy of, right? Jealous of this, want to build this for everyone, want this to be the level, the highest expectation for all of not only women's football, but for any women's organization, sports that are at a professional level. We need this expectation of you all. We need to know that this is possible. So you've got to, as a woman, as a business owner, as someone who is incentivized in life to do better for other people, you got to take away that pride of what could have been, because it's hard sometimes. You got to know it, you got to respect it, but you've got to say, you know what? I can do this for them. I can be a part of doing this and building this for them. And that's an opportunity. And with every opportunity, there's challenges, there's successes, and you got to build. But you got to take that jealousy, take that pride aside and say, you know what, we can do this. It's going to be hard, but we can do this.
What else do you need if you're talking to other leagues, if you're talking to the NFL? What does the WNFC need in order to feel supported?
Say money.
Say that to the mic.
I need a check or two. I need a couple of checks. We've got, I promise you, we have people who believe in us. I promise you that you have people that are working for you, for this expectation and to meet that level. There is a level of money that you need from people on a financial level to support what it is that we're trying to do. And unfortunately, I am not a millionaire and I can't do that. We need partnerships, we need relationships. So at the end of the day, when we're asking people to wear Riddell, to wear Adidas, to wear all of these things, those are people that are trying to support us. And that helps us go after them and say, hey, give me that checkbook. Because here's what we can do for you. We have a great social platform. We've grown tremendously over the years. We've got athletes who are branding themselves. We've got athletes that we can rely on to showcase those partnerships. And when we continue to do that, we can continue to go back to them and say, here's what we can do for you. Write us that check.
Last question for commission. Any last questions? Great job, commission. Thank you so much. Our first ever press conference. I say it was a success. Y'all did well. Y'all are professional, man. I wish everyone in the world could hear you all talk. It's the reason I invited some people externally, because I want, Bahada to go back to Up to Us Sports, and these folks go back and be like, y'all kind of know these women. Like, this league is different, and the only way people will know it is to show up and watch you. Have a good time today, tomorrow.
Sorry. Can I get a picture before everybody leaves?
I gotta go.
Okay.
I can't stay for a picture.
Okay.
But yes. Clear, just so we're clear, we gotta leave and not wander anywhere. So when you leave this room, leave out the door so that we get invited back and don't break any security rules, okay? All right, great job, y'all. Really good job, everybody.